The Bank United Center here in beautiful Coral Gables, Florida, is the site of the biggest game in many, many years for the Miami Hurricanes program and their fans. Students have been lining up since early this morning to get the best seats they can get to see the 25th ranked Hurricanes take on the #1 team in the nation, the Duke Blue Devils. Jim Laranaga's pregame speech.
Play hard, play smart, play together. Have fun playing with your friends. You've lived your whole lives for these opportunities. Make the most of it. Let's go.
Welcome to Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Reese's Peanut Butter on ESPN, and we are here at Gables. We mentioned, some say, the biggest game in many, many years for the Hurricanes program. Yes, Duke is #1 in the nation, but if you look at the ACC standings, the Hurricanes right now are #1 in the conference and unblemished 4-0, and looking really they can win tonight for a real solid lead in the ACC through 5 games. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Dick Vitale. Great atmosphere. First sellout of the year here in Coral Gables, and a lot on the line tonight.
Well, it really is. When you look at the ACC right now, who would have thought Miami's sitting at 4-0? You look at Duke right now. They're coming off that win they just recently had after losing to North Carolina State. And I'll tell you, tonight, when you look at Miami, they better, #1, do a great job defensively in transition, and they better shut down the 3, and they better make sure they can contain Plumlee inside if they want that W.
As is almost always the case, the Blue Devils are a great offensive team. You look at their numbers in the conference, and they lead the ACC in both scoring and three-point percentage. Miami has turned it into a very good defensive team this year, holding opponents to 53 points per game so far in conference play. One-on-one, who are you looking at?
Well, you look one-on-one. You talk about Duke, you got to talk about Curry and his perimeter shooting ability. Duke is dynamic shooting the 3. One of the reasons? Mr. Curry. He is shooting 57% from three-point range. That's absolutely unbelievable when you think about it, because he faces so much pressure. On the other side, Durant Scott, a New York City kid. He's got some swag. He's also a competitor, a fierce competitor. Wants to make big shots, as the medium-range jump shot, as the long-range jump shot, and he can get to the rim as well.
A look at the starting lineups tonight. We begin with Duke, again playing without the injured Ryan Kelly. Emil Jefferson, a freshman, will make his first start of the season. Rashid Suleiman, who did not start Duke's last game, is back in the starting lineup tonight for the Blue Devils. For the Miami Hurricanes, it's a veteran-laden bunch, 4 senior starters. They too, though, have been playing without an injured player. Reggie Johnson, big man in the middle, has been out for the last 8 games with a broken thumb. But there is some late-breaking news as we welcome in Janine Edwards.
That's right, Dan. You know, Coach Jim Laranaga got a gift this morning when the team doctor told him that Reggie Johnson's leg tonight. This is an unexpected development. He was supposed to be out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken thumb. It's only been about 4 weeks. Now, Johnson has not practiced. He has participated this morning fully in shoot-around. But Laranaga gave me an idea of what they had lost without Johnson on the floor. They were grabbing a rebound every 2.8 minutes with Johnson, every 4.8 minutes without Johnson. And considering that Johnson went off for 27 points against Duke last year, this is clearly an unwelcome development for the Blue Devils. Dan?
All right, Janine, thank you. The atmosphere, not the easiest to deal with if you're a visiting team, although, as the folks wearing Duke blue will tell you, every game is like this wherever Duke goes. They are used to this. They're back at #1 after some other programs lost in the last week. Miami, by the way, has never defeated a top-ranked team. They are 0-6 all-time against #1 ranked teams.
Miami gets great news. I'm really surprised here coming here today. I had no idea that Reggie Johnson may play. That he's in great physical condition. And it'll be interesting as you know, Janine said, he had 27 last year and 13 rebounds and dominated the inside.
Our officials, Carl Hess, Ray Natili, underway. Rashid Suleiman with a wide open three.
That's good news for Duke because he went through a real struggle. Bounced out of it a little bit in their last game against Georgia Tech. They need him to put points on the board.
Yeah, he had been 9 for 40 in his last 5 games before scoring 15 against Georgia Tech. Julian Gamble, a 6th-year senior from where? Durham, North Carolina, although he grew up a Tar Heels fan, and he gets the Hurricanes on the board.
Well, he played at Durham Southern High School. They go to Plumlee, try to get one-on-one down in the box.
Mason Plumlee rejected by Gamble, and it's Miami ball.
They need a big performance out of Gamble. Since he's been put in the starting lineup, he's averaging 9 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, and he gives them great toughness. Jimmy Larrañaga said he's a tough kid. Listen, he's 23 years old.
Yep.
And there's something about kids that have that kind of experience.
Redshirted a year, lost a year due to a knee injury, so a 6th-year senior as Plumlee rips down a rebound. He's averaging about 11 boards per game. Cook all the way with the floater. Plumlee with the follow. Shane Larkin comes up.
Daddy. Got a balanced team, Miami, in terms of scoring. I mean, you look at that club, they got 5 guys basically in double figures because when you look at Jones, he just misses at 9.8.
Leading scorer is Duran Scott, just under 14 points per game. This is a key. Can Larkin keep Cook out of the lane?
He's a good defensive player, Larkin.
Plumlee with a jump hook.
He has been so impressive all year long.
The leading contender of the year, Doug McDermott and Trey Burke, other names that you hear, and all certainly worthy of getting mentioned in that kind of company.
They like playing those ball screens. Duke's hedging, stepping out on a ball screen.
Kenny Kaji, yes.
No, he's a big-time player. Doesn't get a lot of PR and notoriety. Transfer was 2 years at Gator. He's found himself here in Miami.
And with Ryan Kelly out and Emil Jefferson, the freshman, starting, he draws the assignment of Kaji, giving up size to Kaji. And Kaji also likes to shoot the three.
You know, Emil Jefferson, how tough it's been. He stepped in, he had to guard C.J. Leslie, and now he's got Kaji.
Quinn Cook, short on the three. Jefferson keeps it alive, but it's out of bounds to the Hurricanes.
Jefferson's had a little problem with making the adjustment to the quickness of the game. Defensively, he's been in foul trouble. So look at Kaji. Great job of cradling the ball, floating through the lane. You know, he fouled out. And then against Georgia Tech. Look at the job stepping out.
Did have 10 rebounds in that game against Georgia Tech. Gives them a much different look as Ryan Kelly is out indefinitely with a foot injury. Rejected by Plumlee. He saw that one coming.
Plumlee did a great job rotating over because right now you see Jimmy Larrañaga's call is to get a little one-on-one with Kaji, the experienced player, a 5th-year player, against a young kid, the diaper dandy, Jefferson.
Miami, as you mentioned, Dick, beat Duke. 27 rebounds. Boy, both teams doing an outstanding job protecting the rim.
Well, you know, Gamble, a little chip on the shoulder. Duke and people down there didn't want him, basically. He showed his talents when he played here in an AAU tournament back in 2006. In fact, one of his high school teammates a couple years ago played at Miami, Anthony Kidd.
Plumlee knocked away. Miami ball. McKinney Jones back to Larkin. Scott steps into a three.
I think the key for Miami is they got to get a good start. They can't let Duke jump out big and silence this crowd. They were on Larrañaga's lawn today. I was out there with all the kids. They were having a great time. Coach
Larrañaga delivered some donuts out to the kids earlier today, and he says he shook the hand of every student who was waiting out there this morning. Seth Curry playing through a right leg injury that's been a problem all season. Twisted his left ankle last week.
Can't practice.
Yep. It'll stay at this end of the floor. Curry might just about 45 of the 63 practices that Duke has had this year, but he is still playing well. Only 2 on the shot clock now as Quinn Cook inbounds. And Plumlee gets free underneath.
That is really a breakdown defensively by Miami. Lack of communication. No way with 2 seconds on the clock. I mean, you got to be aware of Plumlee around the basket. Plumlee stepping out.
Scott the drive. High off the glass and good.
Played at Archbishop Malloy and played at Rice High School. Archbishop Malloy was Jimmy Larinaga.
Suleiman misses this 3. Long rebound out to Cook. Duke getting all kinds of looks from beyond the arc in the early going.
Yeah, wide open looks. Tough play, tough play.
And Kaji goes hurtling out of bounds to take us to our first media timeout of the night. A spirited start here to Coral Gables. Number 25 Miami and number 21 Duke. A 1-point lead early for the Blue Devils.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter. And in part by the Volkswagen Passat. That's the power of German engineering. And Wendy's. Now that's better.
Aerial coverage tonight provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires with game-changing traction inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. We understand we're having some audio issues that we are working on fixing. We appreciate you having patience with us while we work on that. It is plenty loud here inside Bank United Center at Coral Gables. Dan Schulman to Dick Vitale, Janine Edwards. Duke 7, Miami 6 in the early going.
Hey, one of the keys when you're playing Duke, you better make sure you keep Cook in front of you. You can't allow him to get by you, and that's the job of Larkin. He has to defend him, keep him out of the lane.
Josh Hairston into the game for Duke. Plumlee the kick. Cook right back to Plumlee and tipped up and in. I think Hairston's going to get credit for it as Duke ups the lead to 3.
Yeah, Hairston was all over the offensive boards. He's made some really good plays for them offensively on the glass this year in crucial moments. We had him in Kentucky, and he made 2 big offensive rebounds.
And of course, getting more minutes, as is Jefferson, because of the injury to Kelly. Larkin with good ball pressure from Cook. Larkin goes the other way.
Scoring's really been a little difficult thing for Miami. They've been winning with their defense.
Haji wide left on the 3. And the kick back out to McKinney Jones. Good job by Gamble to get Miami another possession.
Well, McKinney Jones can shoot the 3. He's got good range.
Scott lost it. Off Plumlee out of bounds.
Hey, look at Miami. Their 3 losses this year, Florida, Gulf Coast. You say, how can they lose that game? Had no Scott. Jimmy Larinaga told me he's the heart and soul of the team. Here comes Reggie. And it's not Reggie Jackson. Here comes Reggie. He's a big fella. He's almost as big as Warren Sapp. He came over to we took a picture with Big Warren. Nominee for the Hall of Fame.
Listen to the crowd going nuts for him. Missed the last 8 games with a broken left thumb. Back earlier than expected. Miami kept it under wraps that he was going to be back in the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm really shocked.
Curry. And down to the rebound, Kaji.
Nice big duo to have with Kaji and Reggie Johnson. And one thing about Kaji, he's a stretch 4 man. He's a guy that can bring you out.
Larkin for 3.
Oh, his daddy's got to love that. His daddy's got to love that. I used to watch him around spring training out of Arizona when the Reds trained there. Deion Sanders' son. Said Deion's his favorite athlete.
Plumlee the kick. Cook the extra pass. Curry a good look. Leaves it short. Follow no good by Cook. Duke missing some open looks.
You beat me to the punch.
Sorry,
you beat me to the punch. They get wide open looks. Eventually, you're going to pay if you don't get on them and try to challenge them on their shots.
Now Curry the steal. He's shooting 57% in conference play from 3-point range. 16 of 28. Look at the ball pressure by Scott.
And one thing, he's improved his offensive foul. Got him with the left hand. Got him with the left hand. Carl Hess with the call. Mike Krzyzewski can't believe it. Told us he's amazed by the performance of Curry because he understands how the kid doesn't get a chance to practice.
Curry will sit down. Tyler Thornton into the game in the backcourt along with Suleiman. Alex Murphy has checked into the game for Duke as well. Jefferson is back and Plumlee in the middle. Ryan Brown is in the game for Miami, as is Tanye Jakiri, a 7-foot freshman. The floater good for Larkin.
Larkin with that good quickness. Explodes, gets down the lane, competitive. That's what I hear about he and Scott, both fierce competitors.
Now a steal by Scott. And the lay-in. Miami leads by 4.
Rice High School, same school produced Felipe Lopez. Good start by Miami, playing tough on the defensive end.
7-0 run Hurricanes, the crowd in a frenzy.
They've held their last 6 opponents under 60. That's amazing.
Mason Plumlee, the save, goes flying out of bounds, but he earns Duke a bucket as Murphy gets the lay-in.
Murphy got that score, but think about this, Dan. The last 6 opponents have not been able to score more than 60 against Miami. Something's got to give tonight.
Yep.
Got a good defensive team with a team that's really strong offensively and also is pretty good defensively.
One of the concerns for Duke, guarding the ball screens as Miami runs it almost every time down the court. Reggie Johnson called for the foul, used the left arm to shove Plumlee, and we will step aside. What a start, what an atmosphere so far here in Coral Gables. And Shane Larkin, as he often is, Dick, in the middle of everything for the Hurricanes.
There he is, penetrating right in the gap, and there's a little floater, lays it right up for a deuce. And here's Scott with the steal. There's the conversion.
Miami by 2 over Duke, 11:52 to go in the first half. Well, off the court news today, which has a connection obviously to the Miami basketball program. As you may have heard, a report came out that said there were going to be allegations of misconduct on former Miami coach Frank Haith, now the coach at Missouri, where the NCAA announced today that it has found an issue of improper conduct within its own investigation. So for the meantime, until they sort that out, there will be no notice of allegations against Miami. It's kind of just a freeze, it sounds like, for a couple of weeks.
Well, you know, Mark Emmert, he was absolutely furious if you read some of his quotes with what's happening within the NCAA. I think that's really sad and pathetic. Maybe they should put the NCAA on probation. Put them on a little probation instead of putting people. It's an embarrassment. And I know how hard Mark Emmert's working, trying to clean things up. I mean, how that can transpire is absolutely sad. It's not over yet, though, as far as the Miami situation.
No, this is just it's a delay, right? This means nothing will happen until the NCAA sorts out its own issues, and then if there is anything to be brought down against Miami, it will happen after that.
Watching Johnson on the floor, it's going to take him a while to get into a basketball rhythm.
Boy, good defense there by the Hurricanes as Johnson and Jakiri combine to meet Plumlee and force that ball out of bounds.
Well, that's what they want out of Jakiri. If he can block shots, give him some solid defense, that's all they want out of him. It's a nice matchup here. These 2 point guards going head to head.
There's the ball screen again.
You better be able to communicate with your teammates on that ball screen. And that was really the value of a guy like Ryan Kelly.
Suleiman comes up with a loose ball, finds Cook in transition. Miami, number 1, right at the top of their list, is getting back in transition, not letting Duke get some easy points.
You know, a loss of Kelly, when you look at Duke, Duke's standard for excellence is winning a national championship. He affects them big time. Are they going to win a lot of games? Yes, these kids are going to win a lot of games, but it's a different team without Kelly.
Cook looking a little frustrated. Duke a little stagnant here this trip. Shot clock running down. Jefferson with a 15-footer. Rebound down to Johnson.
Duke did a great job. Got the open shot. They're having a tough. I haven't seen Duke have such a tough time shooting open shots like here tonight.
Saw Ryan Kelly sitting on the bench. His right foot in a boot. Out indefinitely. No timetable for his return.
Cook has really developed into a heck of a point guard. MVP over there when they played in the Bahamas. That's great competition.
Minnesota, VCU, and Louisville, the 3 teams they beat down in the Bahamas. Let's check in again with Janine.
Well, Dan and Dick, you heard Coach Krzyzewski telling us, hey, we're still trying to figure out who we are without Ryan Kelly on the floor. He said, we are a different team now. And assistant coach Steve Wojciechowski told me we need some opportunistic scoring. We just don't have the scorers without Kelly on the floor. And we do need more defense and more defensive rebounding, and it looks like they are struggling in 2 of those areas tonight so far.
Tell you one thing, Janine, is they double up on a post, they kick it back out, wide open. Wide open. They're going to make you pay sometime, obviously, if you keep giving them wide open shots. But that was created on the double team. Tell you, Duke is #1, and deservedly so based on their resume. But if you ask me, the best team in America I've seen thus far, it's Michigan.
And as Mike Krzyzewski said it before the game, he said to us, every year everybody says this year is so wide open and so many different teams. He says in all his years, this year, he says, without question, he feels, is the most wide open year as Scott hits a long three. You got a Louisville and a Michigan and a Florida and Indiana,
Gonzaga,
Duke.
It goes to Arizona, Kansas. I mean, it is going to be one heck of a March Madness. You're getting me all pumped up here, Danny Schulman. I know your mom and dad are in the house, coming to Paradise, Sarasota.
Oh, it's beautiful
after this
today.
game.
I gained about 70 degrees on my flight yesterday coming down here. And Carl Hess with a whistle and a foul away from the ball going against Miami. Noon Saturday, it's a Big East battle. Louisville, after losing at Villanova last night, they'll try to get well, take it on Georgetown at noon Eastern, 7 Eastern. Dick and I will be up in Raleigh as North Carolina State. Boy, one of the most puzzling teams in the nation. Lost to Wake last night. North Carolina State takes on North Carolina. Those games on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN.
They're going to find a way to win those close games. Lost a heartbreaker to Maryland and won to Wake Forest. Freshman had a big game. Devin Thomas for Wake Forest.
Gamble back into the game for Johnson for Miami. Kaji loves the three.
He can stretch defenses. Mike Krzyzewski was raving about him. Raving before the game. Said not only one of the premier players in the ACC, he said, but he's one of the premier players in the nation.
Hairston look at inside. Cook open on the wing. Misses the three. And Gamble holds off Plumlee for the rebound. It's a 13-4 run right now for the Hurricanes.
And that's what they want out of Gamble. Just lay some screens, lay your body on people, give us maybe a little offensive rebounding.
Plumlee down with the board.
Too much the ball in his hands there, not enough movement.
Cook. Hairston couldn't handle the pass.
Got numbers, man. 3-on-1. Give it up.
Scott behind the back, and Murphy fouls Gamble.
3-on-1. You got to come up, score. Now they got to go to the free throw line to try and get some points out of this possession. There it is right now. Look at this. 3-on-1, baby. 3-on-1. Around the back. Now from the rear. Hey, shooting the basketball. I was talking to Mike Tirico today. Obviously, Mike does a great job for us. And we're talking about shooting the basketball. I mean, last night you got Wisconsin and Michigan State. You got a 3-point shot. You got a shot clock. And neither team can break 50 points. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and you see that a lot in the Big Ten. And the discussion is how much is good defense, how much is bad shooting.
Or how much is too much control, not allowing kids to really utilize their gift and their unbelievable talent. But the bottom line, you could say it was ugly. The time is up when they got in that plane, flying back to Lansing. Yep. It was absolutely phenomenal. Any
coach will take an ugly W over a beautiful L.
I like that.
As Gamble misses the free throw.
There's Mike Krzyzewski talking to the guys, talking maybe about a little dinner to Prime 112 right here in Miami at South Beach. Great place to go. It's fun to be fighting him.
Mike Krzyzewski, 943 wins. Tops all time among men's Division I coaches. Jimmy Larrañaga, of course, had the great run at George Mason, led him into the Final Four in 2006. He's won over 500 games as a head coach, now in his second year here with Miami.
That was one of the most unbelievable runs that I've ever witnessed in my years at ESPN. The teams he beat to get there, the Connecticut's, the Carolinas, unbelievable. Yeah, Michigan State,
Carolina, Wichita State, and UConn before losing to the eventual national champion Florida Gators. Jefferson misses the reverse. Boy, and Duke is missing good looks inside and outside here in the first half.
And I see a little frustration in the body language right now.
And with a tough catch back to Larkin.
You know, every game they play, they're in for a battle. Everybody plays at such a level. It's almost like the national championship to the moment, to the fans and the players and the coaches. As soon as they see that Duke uniform,
The biggest game they say there's been here in many, many years, and Kenny Kaji and the Hurricanes responding to the challenge early.
Rangers have not gotten a point from Zeller. They're midway through the first already, but their win in 2010, Oladipo's got 5 early. That's a 3, 20-10 the lead.
And back here, a low-scoring game. Miami leading #1 Duke 19-14 with 7:18 left in the first half. The Blue Devils, some very uncharacteristically poor shooting numbers. And as Dick's telling you, they haven't even been to the free throw line yet.
That is really big. That was one of the things they were really concerned about, keeping them off the free throw line, and they're doing a great job. Why is that pertinent? Duke has made over 100 more free throws than their opponents. That's unbelievable when you factor that over a 17-game period.
Janine Edwards was near the Miami huddle. Janine?
Yeah, Dan, another thing that Miami was worried about was Mason Plumlee. When he gets the ball and he's not able to get to the rim and the driving lanes are blocked, he's able to kick it out to somebody on the perimeter like he just did with Curry. They want to make the Hurricanes a little bit more aware of Plumlee kicking it out to the perimeter.
I'll tell you one thing, Duke better be a little bit more aware of Larkin. Great movement without the ball on the offside, and he gets a little layup.
Duran Scott with a nice feed. Miami's got its largest lead of the night.
That's why they're a good basketball team. They have solid guard play. And if you have solid guard play, you got a chance to win. That's one of the problems with Kentucky right now when you look at them. Harrell and Goodwin are very good, players, average players basically as a guard combo, but they're not great like they've had in the past, and that leads to trouble.
And of the top 6 that Miami has, Dick, 5 of them are seniors. That is an absolute rarity these days.
Not only seniors, they have 2 fifth-year players that are senior players.
Trey McKinney-Jones.
He can shoot the three, so he gives it that extra dimension with the combination of Larkin and Scott. You need great guard play to win big.
Plumlee threads the needle inside. Jefferson rejected, got it back, and it's fouled.
Sean Hall with the call.
Second foul on Kenny Kaji.
Had a great start here for Miami, showing that their win over Michigan State was legitimate. Their win over North Carolina. They keep saying, but how did we lose to Florida Gulf Coast?
Miami's 3 losses: Florida Gulf Coast, Arizona, Indiana State. Had somebody injured in all 3 of those games as Jefferson makes the first, and now Kaji has to sit down with the second foul. Johnson back into the game for the second time.
Well, those 2 losses they had to Arizona and Indiana State. Reggie Johnson got hurt the day before the Arizona game. Yep. But I'll tell you one thing, Jimmy Larinaga, he was singing the praises of Arizona. He said, tough kids, well coached, athletic, and there'll be a challenge for people up north.
Well, Johnson's not even wearing anything on his left hand. In practice earlier today, which he went through on a limited basis, he did have some sort of a soft-looking splint on the thumb and forefinger. Got nothing on right now. Scott for 3.
Tell you one thing, who's not making that 3? Nice high school. Felipe Lopez from the St. John store went there.
Big story tonight, 3-point shooting. Duke struggling, and Miami, Dick, is 5 of 8 from beyond the arc.
Absolutely. The 3 can change the complexion of the game quickly. Take a look at Scott right now. Look at that range. I mean, he shot that almost from the Miami Heat arena. Look at this. Don't celebrate too early, man. There's a lot of time you have to play in this game.
Second foul on Reggie Johnson. So Kaji on the bench with 2. Johnson in the game with 2. Another miss for the Blue Devils.
Okay, doing a good job on the defensive glass as well, Miami. That was another one of their goals. Got to keep Mason Plumlee off the glass.
Larkin into Gamble. Got a mismatch over Jefferson to a certain extent, but he missed the jump hook. Gamble about 2 or 3 inches taller and about 30 pounds heavier than Jefferson, who's going to be guarding big people all night long. Thornton, no. Larkin the save.
Duke can't get any rhythm at all offensively.
Larkin the 3. And the putback for Gamble.
Hey, they're on hustling Duke right now on the glass. Mike Krzyzewski not happy with their effort. And they're going bananas here in Miami. They better not celebrate too soon, though. There's a lot of basketball to be playing.
The electricity in this building before the game began tonight, it was palpable. A huge game for the Hurricanes, trying to beat a top-ranked team for the first time in program history. There's a long, long way to go, but Jim Larenega's got to be thrilled with the first 15 minutes tonight.
He'd like to leave. He wish the game was over right now. So his wife Liz was in the house as well.
Marshall Plumlee into the game for the first time for Duke.
Giving him some size inside. Trying to match up with the size that Miami's putting on the floor.
Mason Plumlee. Johnson guarding him with 2 fouls. Plumlee too strong and down with the ball. Johnson.
So you talk about an all-wide body team. You better talk about putting Mr. Johnson on that team. Shot selection so big. Mark's really playing well, executing at good efficiency. Miami's guards.
And Gamble called for the illegal screen.
Can't move, man. Can't move. Sean Hall with the ball.
Sean Hall saying he was sliding, and he pointed motion to his left shoulder, saying Gamble got him with his shoulder.
You know, Jimmy Larenega was one heck of a player. Went to Providence. Came out of a great high school program. Played for one of the great coaches of all time, Jack Curran.
Who, as he told us before the game,
Hall of Fame,
is still the coach.
Absolutely.
At 82 years of age.
You know, winning his coaches basketball and baseball. I'll tell you, it's all working for Miami now. It is all working. I wish they didn't have to come back out here after halftime.
A dozen for Duran Scott.
Look at Duran. He can do no wrong. He can do no wrong. He did not play in that loss against Florida Gulf Coast. And as you said, every one of their losses, they had a key element out of the game.
Who knows when the last time this has happened? These things happen to even the best of teams. But Duke's on the wrong end of an 18-1 run right now.
Haven't seen that too often. Haven't seen that too often.
They were up 14-13. Make it a 19-1 run for the Hurricanes.
They're a different team. I mean, I don't want to harbor that point, but it's a fact, man. You lose somebody like Ryan Kelly, it changes your rotation, it changes your substitutions, it changes your defense. He is just one of those special players, especially for the Duke system.
Cook.
Oh, a little layup doesn't go down for him. That tells you the night they're having.
Timeout on the floor. Wow. 19-1 Miami run. And a big lead for the hometown Hurricanes.
Right around the corner, Indiana. They are in a Big Ten battle with Penn State. It's been a game of runs. Indiana has 2 of them. Penn State has only 1. Zeller's finally scored. They're about the 4-minute mark, and Indiana's got a 23-14 lead. Full highlights coming up. And the logistics of the game looks at Arizona as they get set for the Bruins. UCLA off a loss, and now on their toughest road trip of the year.
And back here in Coral Gables, the Duke Blue Devils are 6 for 30. They are shooting 20% so far in this game, and they're just 2 of 11 from three-point range.
And they're also not able to get to the free throw line, where they make over 100 more free throws thus far this year than their opponents. They've only been to the line 2 times. They're 1 for 2 tonight on the free throw line. That's big because what happens, they get people in foul trouble, they put people on the sideline, they get charity points, good free throw shooting team. So that was one of the game plans of Miami. Try to keep them off that free throw line.
Meanwhile, Miami is shooting 56% from the field tonight. They've made 5 out of 9 threes. They've made 6 out of 10.
He didn't get much PT, baby, when it was down in Gainesville. Don't count out Florida, by the way. I agree with Reese Davis. I think that Florida's Gators, when they get all their players, have a potential championship team.
A 22-1 run. Johnson called for the foul, his 3rd.
Came from the rear. Look at Kadri. I mean, he just squares up, stretches that defense. They call him a stretch 4-man. Inside, outside. Go to the interior. Go to the perimeter.
Shot over 40% from three last year, in the mid-30s this year after 2 out of 3 tonight. Plumlee misses the free throw. Johnson to the bench. Gamble back in. Curry returns for Duke. Reggie Johnson limited by foul trouble in his return tonight. 5 minutes, 3 fouls.
You know, there's something about experience. When you look at Miami, as you said earlier, I mean, experience galore. Empty on the free throw line. Nothing going right for the Dukies.
Let's go to Janine.
And Dickie, you nailed it. Experience. That is exactly what Mike Krzyzewski was most worried about with this Miami Hurricanes team. He said their experience, which gives them poise, confidence, and chemistry, something we don't have.
You're right. Solo step before the game, Janine. And you're looking at a team with 2 fifth-year players, a 6th-year player, and what about the performance of Kaji? Showing his ability not only to shoot the three, look at him change direction, lay it in the left hand, and get the conversion. He'll be playing at the next level. I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever.
Duke can't buy one, and Miami can't miss.
In fact, one of the players in Miami last year was a guy who had a fairly decent year. He made the Orlando Magic team, Daquan Jones. He was the one involved in a lot of controversy. They finally cleared him.
Thornton a miss. Duke's gone 7.5 minutes since making a field goal.
I have never seen Duke in all my years doing games shoot so poorly.
A 25-1 run.
Say it again.
A 25-1 run. It's unbelievable. Wow. Larkin. And the rebound down to Plumlee. And Carl Hess stops play. It looks like Thornton may have been poked in the eye or something to that effect as he makes his way to the Duke bench.
I mean, this team has some impressive wins. When you look at their resume, the teams they have beaten have been amazing. As you said earlier, in that tournament, beating the likes of Minnesota, VCU, Louisville. VCU is on fire. Yep. I mean, that's going to be one heck of a matchup when VCU and Butler hook up.
Both now in the A-10.
2 great young coaches. And Stevens, Shaka Smart.
Plumlee, no. The follow good for Jefferson. It took 8 minutes and 13 seconds between field goals for Duke.
One of the rare times they didn't put a body on the offensive rebound. Rebound, they got right to the glass. They bring the lane. Jefferson's going to be a very good player. He's got length. He's got quickness.
And a timeout called by Jim Larinaga.
Jimmy Larinaga worked for years in the ACC under Terry Holland out of Virginia.
Now we got a great looking NBA matchup for you Friday night. It'll be the Spurs, led by Tim Duncan against Dirk Nowitzki, and the Dallas Mavericks. NBA Friday presented by State Farm. Coverage tips off with Kia NBA Countdown at 7:30. Then it's the game itself at 8. Jimmy Larinaga said he thinks the last time you called the game he was involved in was when he was an assistant at Virginia and Ralph Sampson was there in about 1981 or 82. Meanwhile, Mike Krzyzewski having a somewhat spirited conversation with Sean Hall, one of the officials.
Tell you one thing I remember doing a game, Virginia and North Carolina. It was unbelievable. Virginia was up like 16. Carolina was number 1. Virginia was number 2. Ralph Sampson, they're up by 10. And Carolina scores the last 11 points in a row and had the Super South by the name of Michael the Magnificent. And then I went on and said, inch for inch, pound for pound. Forget Ralph Sampson. The best player in America is Michael Jordan. Then I had to go to Charlottesville. It wasn't easy.
Shaqiri looking inside for Gamble. Now finds Scott. 5 to shoot. Scott cradles it and hits it.
He's having one heck of a half. Going to bottle it, baby. Bottle it.
15 for Scott.
Doing a good job defensively, offensively.
Suleiman, good defense as McKinney Jones stays with him.
That is their strength. They've been a tough defensive team. How tough? The last 6 opponents have not been able to score 60 against them. Think about that. You got a great chance to win when you're keeping people in the 50s.
Final minute of a stunning first half here in Coral Gables.
Sensational.
Cook off balance, no. And the rebound down to Miami.
It's been all Miami. on every phase of this game. Hustle, defense, offensive efficiency.
Larkin the lob, and Shaqiri can't finish. Larkin gets it back and hits.
Hey, you don't want it? I'll just take it and make that. Oh, look at Barry. He's dancing. Barry's at cloud nine. He can't believe what he's watching. And as a father, I'm telling you, he feels better now than when he hit a grand slam to win a game.
Shot clock turned off.
Look at that defense. Look at the way they're getting down defensively. I mean, do they feel it? Look at that stance. Look at that stance. Right off the Curry.
Count it. And that basket will count for Duke. About the only bright spot in a dismal first half for the top-ranked team in the nation. Look at the shooting numbers for the Duke Blue Devils, and look at them for Miami. A 23-point lead highlighted by a 25-1 run midway through the first half. Janine is with Jim Larinaga.
Well, Dan, I was in the locker room when Coach Larinaga told his guys, keep it simple and keep your poise. How are they doing so far?
Yeah, we played very well in the first half, but it's a 40-minute game. You know Duke, what they are, what they're capable of doing. We've got to put this half behind us and get ready to play a great second half.
Why have you been able to hold them to 20% shooting so far?
Well, we're pretty good defensively, and they've missed some open shots. I mean, that combination has worked well for us.
And if they get on a run, how do you react then?
Well, that's when you got to keep your poise.
All right, Coach, we'll see you in the second half. Thank you.
All right, Janine, thank you very much. 42-19 Miami. What a scene here at Coral Gables. Time now for the UPS halftime report. Back to the studio with Carl Ravitch and Seth Greenberg.
It's just a night.
I'm not here?
It's a night of disrespect for
here?
Duke. No, it's a night of disrespect for Duke.
I'm neutral. I'm neutral. I'm an analyst here.
Jay Williams is here as well. Wow, no one saw that coming. Not one player on Duke has more than one field goal. They made 7 in the first half. Seth Curry is 0 for 6. Shot chart shows that Miami's making just about everything they're throwing up, and it doesn't matter who's shooting it. Whether it's Larkin late, whether it's Kaji, whether it's Gamble, Johnson getting in the act, they're making everything.
They are, and Duke is limited offensively. You know, you talk about Mason Plumlee and Seth Curry are their only options, and Miami's doing a great job of locking them down. And when you look at these matchups, it's a game of mismatches, to be honest with you. I mean, Shane Larkin is blowing by Quinn Cook and Tyler Thornton at will. Durant Scott is blowing by Seth Curry at will. You have, Kenny Kaji is just putting on a show against the inexperience of guys like Emil Jefferson, Alex Murphy, Josh Harrison. And then Julian Gamble and Reggie Johnson are doing such a good job of pushing Mason Plumlee off the block. Mason Plumlee didn't go over his right shoulder one time. Everything is towards the middle and a pass. And, Coach, you talk about it all the time. Julian Gamble, just like Kevin Young, like you said, for Kansas, is one of the unsung heroes on this basketball team.
You know, I talked to Jim Larinaga today, and he had certain things he thought they had to do to be successful. Obviously, defend, get up and underneath Seth Curry, be aggressive defensively, get Plumlee off the block, push him off the block. But to me, when I look at this basketball team, Julian Gamble is Kevin Young for Kansas. He's active, he's alert, he extends plays. He's a guy that is aggressive on the offensive glass. In fact, to me, he's more effective than a Reggie Johnson because now they can step him away from the basket and open up the floor. He's an alert defender off the basketball, and he has the ability to challenge shots at the front of the rim. This basketball team, again, Dick said it during the course of the game, you're talking about a 6th-year senior in Julian Gamble, 2 5th-year seniors, a mature guard in Durant Scott that's been a 4-year starter. When you talk about mismatches, you're talking about a physical, mature basketball team. Duke is a young, inexperienced basketball team.
They look it in this game. 3 times the number 1 has gone down this year. Duke once, obviously. They're in danger of doing it again. Is there a comeback in them?
I think they'll make a run, but how many times have you guys heard a team going on a 29-5 run against Duke? And Duke is getting outworked right now in every aspect of the game.
Down 23 at the half has got to be one of the bigger deficits Duke's faced at the half in a long, long time.
The problem is they can't score. You know, plain and simple, they can't score. The ball goes into Plumlee, they're shrinking the court, forcing a kick out. They can stay home on Curry, but they can shrink the court off those other guys. And then Curry, they're getting up and underneath him. They're making Curry a ball handler as opposed to a catch-and-shoot guy.
Yeah, you can tell he's not himself right now. That's the UPS halftime report. We'll come back. Look ahead. We got a big game coming up. It is Arizona. It's UCLA. The logistics of the game, how the Bruins can compete against Arizona. Tough trip coming up for UCLA.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
With Seth Greenberg, Jay Williams, Carl Ravitch, you're looking at Jack Harbaugh. He, of course, is the dad of the two brothers who are going to be in the Super Bowl. He's also the father of Joni Crean, who's married to Tom Crean, the coach of Indiana. So a lot of coaching talk going over the Thanksgiving plate and table. Yogi Ferrell with a drive. Hoosiers up 7-zip. Oladipo then buries a 3.
Oladipo with 7 points. The thing I like about Indiana, they lead the Big Ten in defensive field goal percentage, holding their opponents at 37%. Penn State only 29% in the first half.
Will Sheehy, that's huge for Indiana. They need to get something out of their bench.
If you score an 84 a game, which is what Indiana does, and you combine that defense, you'll win a lot of games. How about Butler leading LaSalle? It's a close one, 28-23.
LaSalle with a 3-guard tandem that can really score the basketball. Coach Butler playing really good, hard-nosed defense.
It's hard to score against. Butler does not beat themselves. You've got to beat Butler.
All right, Thursday we got a lot of good action. Michigan very well could be the #1 team. Duke, by the way, has trailed by this many only 6 times. And the last time was actually last year against North Carolina, but only once have they ever come back from a deficit as great as 16. That was in 1950 against Tulane. So Michigan could go to #1. Circle that 9 Eastern game, UCLA at Arizona on ESPN2. That brings us to the UPS logistics of the game. And the Bruins coming off a loss to Oregon. So how are they going to beat Arizona, Seth?
Both these teams excel in transition. It's in the half court and special situations. Sean Miller, the winningest coach in the Pac-12 since he's become head coach. But right here, you see a really nice job. Brandon Ashley sets a pin down. Solomon Hill tight curls it. Nick Johnson does a good job of getting below the 45 to get an angle to feed the post. Ashley pushes his man up the lane. That's terrific execution in the half court. Again, this is an Arizona basketball team that has good balance between experienced players and young freshmen, talented freshmen.
Then Arizona goes into their horn set. And if you show on the screen, you have to force Mark Lyons to go back towards half court. If you allow him to turn that corner, Coach, he is dicing you apart.
Again, Lyons does a nice job as a senior of keeping his dribble alive and turning the corner and getting to the front of the rim.
Good backcourt play in both of these teams. Both guys, Lyon and certainly a couple of guys on the Bruins, want to be the best in the country.
This is great execution right here, coming off the stagger screen. Jordan Adams, he waits on the screen, curls the screen, gets to a soft spot of the defense. He's a big-time mid-range jump shooter. And here's great execution. Off a little slice action, that's Shabazz Muhammad. We're looking to get him posted up. But Missouri does a nice job. They switch Lawrence Bowers, no post up, ball's reversed. And this is the growth of Larry Drew. He gets in the lane, draws a second defender. And Shabazz Muhammad, he shoots over 52% on catch and shoots from the 3. Big-time shooter.
Big-time shooter who disappeared in the second half in that game against Oregon. He went for a bagel. That has to change.
And again, this is a young player that has the ability to get in the lane, but he really struggles off the bounce, scoring off the bounce. He's a catch-and-shoot player. He's a guy that can post. He needs to catch the ball in transition. The key to me, who's going to execute in the half court?
Right.
Will it be UCLA? Will it be Arizona? The team that executes in the half court
they're going to run.
will win this game. Both teams are going to score in transition.
You know, also, I'm very interested to watch the backcourt play. I mean, guys like Nick Johnson and Mark Lyons, I mean, those guys have made big-time play after big-time play. And this is a young both are young basketball teams, but I like the ceiling that Arizona has. I think Arizona can go a lot further than UCLA can.
All right, we'll come back. What a first half it has been if you're a Miami fan. The Hurricanes rolling all over the Blue Devils. Kenny Kaji and company getting the job done.
Logistics of the game is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. This halftime report is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
All right, ACC Pride, Miami unbeaten in the conference. Georgia Tech, North Carolina, we'll see them at 9 o'clock Eastern time. You think Carolina's hungry, huh?
Yeah, I think they are. They have to play like they did in the first half against that Maryland team. They won that game.
They're defended.
Exactly. When they defend and they're engaged, they're a good basketball team.
All right, our game has been so one-sided. 42-19. Miami is leading Duke. I'm not sure this feels like it's going to change.
Here's what they need to do. It's a very simple game. They need to get stops and need to make shots. So here's how they're going to do it. They'll bring Battier over from the Heat.
Battier, good.
Bring in Williams.
You're bringing me
All right, and we're going to get him maybe ready to make a couple of jumpers off screens. He's only in Orlando. It's a short trip, and maybe they can get back in the game.
This is a gut check for a basketball team that's in the face of adversity. And they have to step up, and it has to come with passion and heart. That's all.
Rand Scott has 15 points. Duke has 19. Kenny Kaji's got 11. See the second half unfold next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. Now that's better.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. It's the ACC on ESPN, and what a first half for the hometown of Miami Hurricanes at the expense of Duke. A 23-point lead at one point, a 25-1 run. And look at the difference. It comes down to shooting. 59% to 22%. 6 of 11 threes against 2 of 11 threes. Did you see this coming in any way, shape, or form?
No, not really. In fact, maybe I saw it coming the other way. I didn't figure this would happen in any shape or form. But the bottom line is it started early, missing all those open shots, and they really got a little frustrated. And I thought the play of Scott, Larkin, Kaji was absolutely amazing. Gamble as well. Time now for our Reese's Perfect Play. Durant Scott made a few of them. He's got a game-high 15 points heading into the second half. And Kaji also, Dick, inside and outside. He was really brilliant, really made some great jump shots, shows his range as a shooter, able to get to the rack as well, and their defensive effort was superb. They really contained Duke on a perimeter and didn't put Duke on the free throw line. That was major. One of the largest halftime deficits, as you can see, in Duke's program history. Gamble fouled by Curry in the opening seconds of the second half as we check in with Janine.
Well, guys, normally when the Blue Devils come out of the locker room, they're walking and they're talking amongst themselves. Hey, guys, let's go, 20 minutes. This time they came out of the locker room walking, purposeful, heads down, but no one said a peep. And assistant coach Chris Collins said to me, we're showing no fight whatsoever. We are not fighting resistance anywhere on the floor, and especially not around the rim. Miami is screening hard and pushing their offense. So we need to start fighting that resistance, and we especially need to control Larkin and Scott. Dan?
Well, one can only imagine what it was like at halftime for the Blue Devil players.
You know, I agree with him. No doubt. I think that he said it really well, Chris Collins. They did not fight like a typical Duke team. They got frustrated, and they didn't make shots early. And Miami really was the aggressor in that first half. That foul on Curry, by the way, is his third. He is also scoreless tonight. 0 for 7 from the floor, 0 for 4 from three-point range. As Scott hits again. He's having what a night. What a night. He's making like LeBron here tonight, man. Scott with 17. I want to know who gets the headline tomorrow in the Miami Herald. Does Miami or the Heat? Because the Heat's playing tonight, too. The Heat are playing tonight as well. I think if you take down number 1, though, that's the headliner. It's got to be the headliner. Never been done before in Hurricane history. Plumlee can't finish. Numbers for Miami. McKinney Jones. Right there, beating him on the glass again. I'll hustle it up, give him a second opportunity, and they convert again. They are just taking them to the board, my friend. They're taking them to the... steal by Larkin. You talk about frustration. And then a rebound as well. They're taking them to the shed and giving them a beating, as Chris Fowler would say. Look at this shot. This is humiliating, embarrassing. Pride, my friends. That jersey that says D-U-K-E has a lot of pride and passion for the guys that have worn that jersey. Can't even imagine what a Bob Hurley's thinking about watching this. Or a guy like Christian Laettner, tenacious competitor, one of the greats ever to play college basketball. Mike Krzyzewski just took 3 players out of the game. Suleiman, Curry, Jefferson going to his bench. That play by Larkin, catching Duke napping. Zipping in there, getting the steal, uncontested layup. It's gone from bad to worse for the Duke Blue Devils here, opening up the second half. Well, they're only down 30. They're only down 30. Can you believe this? Cook inside, no. And Thornton runs down the loose ball. And stepped out of bounds. Thus far, for the minutes that have been played, I have to say this is the poorest performance I have witnessed out of a Duke basketball team in the years I've sat on courtside. But I don't want to minimize the effort and the performance of Miami as well, because they have really played exceptional basketball.
At one point, it was 14-13 Duke. It's a 36-5 run since then.
Getting right by people, getting open shots.
Gamble. And Plumlee down with a rebound. Alex Murphy into the game early in the second half. Redshirt freshman. Count the basket and one.
You know, Murphy's brother plays at Florida. He's going to be a very good player eventually here in the Duke program as well. Not a superstar, but a solid contributor. Here he is with the drive to the basket. Tough drive, cradles the ball, protects it, lays it on the glass.
And with Kelly out, minutes are available for the likes of Hairston, Jefferson, and Murphy. It's his own miss, and 4 quick points for Alex Murphy, who, if nothing else, at least Mike Krzyzewski's got to be happy that he's seen a little bit of fight, a little bit of effort from Murphy.
Absolutely.
There aren't many guys who have put up that kind of fight tonight for Duke, as Chris Collins told Janine.
See, right there, going to the basket. That should have been a layup. That ball should have been down. Nobody checked him.
Hook to Plumlee, and a foul. It's a fired-up huddle right now for the Duke Blue Devils. The scoreboard doesn't reflect it. They're down 26, although they do have the last 4 points. And Plumlee will head to the line.
It's going to be interesting in the ACC now. Everybody thought, you know, preseason the talk was all North Carolina State, and they have not lived up to expectations. They have really not done the job, especially on the road. You want to be a super team, you got to win those games, and you got to beat a Wake Forest at Wake Forest.
Miami off to a 4-0 start in ACC play. It's the first time they've done that since coming to the ACC. 3 of those 4 wins, Dick, on the road. At Georgia Tech, at Carolina, when the Tar Heels wilted in the last few minutes of the game in what had been a very close game, and then at Boston College. Miami still has to go to NC State. They still go to Duke as well on March the 2nd, a game you can see here on ESPN. Larkin evades the traffic.
He's a real good ball handler. Oh, he got fouled.
Had a chance to talk with his dad, Barry, Hall of Famer and our colleague at ESPN at halftime, and he is just so proud of what Shane Larkin has done. Shane told me a story this morning that he used to hang around with Barry and the Reds back when Barry was a player. And at that time, you know, guys like Tony Perez and Pete Rose, they had retired, but they were still around. And Shane learned to hit from Pete Rose and Tony Perez. Not bad.
Not bad.
Then he goes plays Little League ball. And his coach says, "Who taught you to hit like that?" He said, "That's not the right way to hit." And Barry says after that, Shane said, "Well, I can't play for these coaches anymore," and he quit baseball and took up basketball after that.
Well, he's getting like his uncle. His uncle Byron Larkin was a big star at Xavier. Ike Larkin played football at Notre Dame. Another uncle played baseball at Texas, Steve Larkin, the whole family. And Barry certainly, obviously, a shining light as a Hall of Famer. And the class, the way he's handled himself. He's going to be proud also of his alma mater, Michigan.
Yep.
I think the crowd is stunned. I think the crowd, as loud as they've been at times, they're sitting there, they can't believe, looking at the scoreboard, what they're saying.
Another point for Scott. The odd Duke fan in the midst of the Miami student section. Talk about being in the wrong place at the right time if you're a Blue Devils fan tonight. And a block is called on the baseline. I think McKinney Jones will get called for the foul.
Well, the officials getting a little scrutiny here as well. They're sitting right to my right, about 6 feet away. John Clarkity, the head of the officials here. Who, by the way, P.J. Carlissimo, he has earned the right to be the Nets coach. And the reason I mentioned him, I had some quotes in the paper the other day. He said, if I could pick anybody to work the championship game, my choice would be John Clarkity at that time. And remember the famous call where Clarkity made the call late to put Neil Robinson on the line. And that ultimately was the end of Seton Hall winning the national title.
Alex Murphy giving Duke a bit of a spark. He has come into the game and has 7 points here in the second half, 9 on the night.
He's playing hard, even there fouling. playing aggressively. It's the one thing the Duke kids have done that Nate James told me not walking out here. So we're not playing with any kind of urgency, any kind of intensity, emotion, and passion. And the one thing I've heard Mike speak about is the fact that we at Duke have to match the opponent's intensity. Because everywhere we go to play, they play at such a level against us.
The officials are going to the monitor, I believe, to see if Murphy's last shot was a 2 or a 3.
Can't see it from that angle. Being blocked. It'll look right there.
Looks like a 3 there, I believe.
You have better eyes than I do. Is that toe touching that line?
They ruled it a 3 when they made the call, and it will stay a 3. So it is a 3 for Murphy. 51-28 the score. Miami in command. And you expected, how many times have you seen Duke coming out of the half, whatever the game, whoever they're playing, go on a real run, just take over a game early in the second half as Ryan Brown is called for the offensive foul.
Well, especially this year, they've been really strong in the second half. Mike with the adjustments, the team's pride, they come out. And the one thing they've always had, Dan, is that ability to shoot the 3. And they're not shooting the 3 tonight because the defensive effort has been supreme when you look at Miami on the perimeter.
And as bad as the first half was, the first 2 minutes of the second half were worse for Duke. Gamble called for the foul, didn't like it at all. Things only started to turn around for Duke when Mike Krzyzewski made the 3 substitutions.
I saw him one time make a mass substitution. 5 guys against Kentucky over at the Meadowlands. But he had one thing going for him in that game. Came back with the starters of one kid by the name of Jason Williams.
By the way,
went bananas. He went bananas. He lit up that place.
My apologies, Jay Will. We were not told you were back in the studio. I just our guy Jay Will back in the studio.
Oh, really?
Back to Carl and Seth.
Well, the reason
we didn't know Jay Will was back.
Yeah, I knew he was back there because I got a note of text. He said, please mention me in my game against Kentucky. So did I take care of you, Jay Will, as you text me? How did I take care of you?
One of the great guys. We love having him with us at ESPN. Larkin. Yes.
Oh, his daddy's jumping with joy. So is his mom. I mean, he's really playing excellent basketball. Penetration. That's really been the ability of Cook. But tonight,
look at Larkin giving chase and knocking it away from Cook. What pursuit by Shane Larkin, and Barry loves the effort.
Well, you know, he leads the league in steals. Shane leads the league in steals.
And we're going to talk to the Hall of Famer, the proud papa, Barry Larkin, when we come back. Back here in Coral Gables, Florida, Shane Larkin has been one of the key reasons why the Miami Hurricanes have a commanding lead on the Duke Blue Devils. And looking on from the crowd, Baseball Hall of Famer, our colleague at ESPN, but tonight, Janine, he's just dad.
That's exactly right, Dan. He is just dad. Barry, you're watching your son Shane play, and I know you come to just about every home game here at Bank United Center, but a different feel tonight. #1 Duke in town, a sold-out crowd. Have you ever seen anything like what we are seeing here tonight?
You know, last year there was a Florida State game here, and it was a big game. They beat Florida State here, and the students rushed the floor. But nothing like this. The anticipation tonight was incredible. You know, I have been to, for the last 2 years, I've been to just about every single home game. And I haven't had much trouble finding a place to park. But I knew today when I got off the highway it was going to be something special.
That's pretty cool. Now, your son is having an outstanding night. And he told us a story today. When he was 7 years old playing baseball, his coach tried to change his swing, a swing that I'm sure you helped him with, and then he rattled off Pete Rose and Tony Perez helped him. So is that coach who we have to thank for this outstanding basketball player we now have? Because he said he quit baseball.
Well, we can certainly thank the coach, but it's true. Pete Rose and Tony Perez did teach Shane how to hit. He went to go play Little League, Coach Vitt, and he told my wife, the coach told her, whoever taught your son how to hit didn't know what he was talking about. So, you know, yes, we have to thank him, but you know, I don't know how much he loved the game, but he certainly has always loved basketball. And, you know, he's doing his thing tonight.
He is doing his thing tonight. You've got to be very proud.
I'm very proud. Thanks.
Thanks, Barry.
All right.
Janine, thank you. Barry was just beaming at halftime when we spoke. Shane also played football, but broke his ankle his freshman year of high school. So that's when he gave up football, devoted himself full-time to basketball. And all's well that ends well for the Larkin family and for the Miami basketball program.
He's having a heck of a night today, there's no question.
Suleiman misses the three. And Reggie Johnson wraps up the rebound.
Bob, what a present that is, as Janine said earlier. Getting Reggie Johnson back a lot sooner than they expected.
Suleiman the foul.
They're going to be right up there in that ACC now. They're going to have a little breathing room if they maintain this lead and finish the night 5-0 in conference play.
And again, it's not a balanced schedule in the ACC. You don't necessarily play everybody twice. You play 7 teams twice and 4 teams once. They've already beaten Carolina. They still host Carolina. They've got to go to NC State. They've got to go to Duke. But a win over number 1, assuming, and they're up 25, if they can win this game, beat number 1, and go to 5-0 in the league, that's going to be a bit of a statement around the conference and around the country.
I'll tell you one thing, if they lose this game, it'll be probably the worst loss in the history of Miami basketball. I think of Miami basketball, I think about number 24. A guy that can stroke it with the best. Oh, you look at, there's this jersey.
Banner up there.
Rick Barry.
Yeah, numbers retired.
Talk about a scoring machine.
Ryan Brown at the line for the Hurricanes.
He's a big-time three-point shooter. Yet you look at his statistics, they don't show it. Shooting like 20-some%. But he made 4 big threes and had 22 points against Georgia Tech.
This is a very mature team. 5 seniors in their top 6. A couple of them, one's a 5th-year senior, one's a 6th-year senior. Experience and talent. And Jim Larinaga, guy, he's not exactly a household name around the country, Dick, in terms of coaches, in spite of the run that he had with George Mason. But he's been a guy like a John Beilein, who has been to a few places, and all he does is win and make people respect him, and a guy that his players love. What do you like about Jimmy Larinaga?
Well, I love his competitiveness. I love his ability to communicate. Teacher. Played under, like I said, a great guy in Jack Curran.
Brown with a floater. The lob, actually, for Jakiri.
Jakiri with the jam, and they're dancing in the aisles. They're celebrating. I think they're going bananas down in South Beach right now with the news of the score.
And Suleiman fouled on the baseline. Onye Jakiri getting in on the act.
Jakiri with the jam. I mean, they're only allowing 58.4 points per game. I mean, that's 4th best only in the ACC. Virginia leads, but it's one of the best in the nation.
Scott Baggy, and that foul on Trey McKinney-Jones, his 4th. And Miami is not the deepest team in the world.
No, they play a lot of minutes, their starters. Play a lot of minutes. Shane Larkin, as I said earlier, leads the ACC in steals.
Suleiman misses a 3. Jefferson over the back. We've had a whistle every few seconds, it seems like, here in the second half as the fouls are piling up.
Another sign that you got a chance to win is if you defend and you don't turn the ball over. They're only turning the ball over this year 10.8 times a game. So they're not turning the ball over. They're defending as a unit, and that gives you a chance to win.
How about the bonus already for Miami? Less than 6 minutes into the second half, and the next Miami foul will put Duke into the bonus.
First sellout this year. Had the crowd outside today on Larinaga's lawn. They have really done a job on Cook. Cook's had really a sophomore night, considering how well he's played all year.
Blue Devils got a break there, but the officials are in play as that ball hit Ray Natilli and then bounced back to Suleiman. Cook with a penetration. Jefferson off the glass and good. Emil Jefferson, who the Duke staff think has a chance to be a real big-time contributor in this program. 6'8" freshman out of Philadelphia.
Was a big-time recruit. Was recruited by many people. Got a lot of talent. He's got size. He's got length. He's got quickness. Plays hard. He's with a little switch stepping out off Jakiri. Good balance right there. Good spacing. Great spacing right there by Miami.
Murphy knocks it away from Johnson. Alex Murphy's done a great job here in the second half for Duke. Now Jefferson inside off the feed from Suleiman.
2 diaper dandies hooking up for a score right there. got to make things happen defensively. You try to go to respectability. You can't trade buckets with them.
Yeah, even with what has felt like a better effort in the second half for Duke, Miami's actually added 1 point to its lead since halftime. Count it.
Trying to get
they're going to wave it off.
He got fouled prior
to the shot.
He did. He got fouled prior. They're trying to get him on the board offensively because he is such a vital part of their team. You got to give help on him on the inside so he spreads everything out. They're 1-on-1 already.
And they're chanting Reggie's name here. Very popular guy, Reggie Johnson. 6'10", 290 out of Winston-Salem with a 1-1 coming to him.
You think Al Golden could use him on a football team? I think the best thing that happened to Miami had all that controversy over the Shapiro incident, the guy that was involved with supposedly
the booster.
Yeah. But really, the best thing that happened to Miami was the hiring of Al Golden in football and Jimmy Larinaga in basketball. Two guys that were not aware of all the things that were transpiring. And the bottom line is both bring an incredible winner's attitude and doing things the right way. They're still playing defense, Miami. Even with that big lead, they're all talking and communicating.
Has it blocked.
Helping, rotating over, closing off driving angles. This has been a solid A+ performance by the Canes.
And Shane Larkin does it again. Curry no. Larkin the rebound.
Curry came in shooting 57%. They needed 12 points out of Curry today because then he and his brother would have passed the Birds. Larry and his brother Eddie Bird.
For second all-time among brother combinations. Marshall Plumlee down with a rebound. The Hansbrough, by the way, are first. If Seth stays healthy, the Currys will wind up number 1. Murphy with a left hand, and he's into double figures now with 11.
He looks very active, too. Looks very mobile. This might earn him some playing time if there's some positives. You know, you try to find something positive. The positive may be Murphy.
That's about it right now, I think, for Duke.
Well, you know, Jefferson a couple moments, too.
Marshall Plumlee figures to get some minutes. He's out there right now. Back into the capable hands of Larkin. Boy, has he seemed in command and control all night long.
Handles that ball so well. If you're Jimmy Larinaga, he doesn't think this game is over yet. I'm watching him on the sideline. He thinks, wow, we got an eternity to play here yet.
Cook is fouled by Larkin and will step aside here in Coral Gables, where it continues to be all Hurricanes routing the top-ranked team in the nation.
That's putting it mildly.
Aspen kicks off tomorrow with snowboard slope style. It's Shaun White, the best that's ever been, against Mark McMorris, the best there is right now. Then in snowboard superpipe, Shaun White begins his quest for an unprecedented 6-peat. The action starts tomorrow at 3 Eastern here on ESPN. Got more ACC basketball coming up later on tonight. Right after this game is over, Georgia Tech at North Carolina, and we'll see Carolina in Raleigh against NC State with the Game Day gang Saturday night.
They won their last 2 games, North Carolina.
Big win at Florida State, a game they really needed.
Florida State's been up and down like you cannot believe as well. If you look at some of their scores.
Well, for the first 5-6 minutes of this game, we said it a few times. Boy, Duke is missing some open looks, and you figured eventually they'd get hot and they'd make Miami pay, and they just never got hot. And once Miami got rolling and got confidence, as the Duke coaches have said, they felt their team has not played with a lot of fight tonight, although they're showing some better signs of that here in the second half. Suleiman from Jefferson, but Miami had an unbelievable run late in the first half.
Oh, nice play right there by the 2 freshmen. Jefferson has that length at the point of that pressure, created an opportunity.
Wow. We could hear the slap from here.
Yes, sir.
Kachi, and a travel.
Hey, you and I sat at courtside when we saw Duke get really ripped, and that was last year against a really outstanding Ohio State team.
Yeah.
And then they bounced back strong. Trust me, practice will be interesting tomorrow.
And a 30-second timeout taken by Jim Larinaga. The lead is 24 midway through the second half. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. We are here in Coral Gables, Florida. Beautiful 76-degree day here today. And a beautiful night if you're a Hurricanes fan. Not such a good night if you're a Blue Devils fan. Arms folded, 29% shooting tonight. Huge deficit. At one point, a 36-5 run for Miami, spanning the end of the first half and the beginning of the second. The deficit now is exactly what it was at halftime. Curry, another miss. He just can't buy one tonight. Plumlee fouled, and will head to the line for 2 free throws.
Well, you know, the Duke kids are playing a lot more harder right now than they did earlier in this game. Did not play with that kind of passion and intensity you expect out of Duke. I think they got totally frustrated, missing all those open looks early in the game. Look at Miami. We mentioned Rick Barry before. You ready for this? I was looking up during the break. He averaged, it's unbelievable, 37 points a game in his last year.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. With no three-pointer.
Unreal.
Gamble back in for Johnson. They're happy to have Reggie Johnson back here. And 1 of 2 for Plumlee.
Do you think the Cameron Tracy's are going to be unbelievable when Miami arrives in town to play them in March?
Larkin with a full head of steam and the slam by Kaji.
It's been all Miami, man, doing anything they want. They get fast break layups, defensively. It's been a Miami show here. I mean, you expect this maybe football, but not basketball.
Plumlee with a left hand.
Even though football at Duke's got a lot better. And Cutcliffe doing a good job getting a goal this year. Larkin has won the battle tonight with Cook. No doubt.
No question.
Scott has won the battle on the other end with Curry.
Remember, Miami beat Duke last year. Counted for Kaji and won. Boy, what a night the big guys have.
He has won the battle against anyone. He has been absolutely sensational. He is demonstrating what Mike Krzyzewski was telling us before the game. I mean, he was just rolling out the praise about Kaji as a player.
6'11", 240, senior, shoots the three, good rebounder and shot blocker, doesn't play with his back to the basket very often, but as we've seen tonight, he can put it on the floor and get to the basket when he wants to.
You know, Dan, it's hard for me to believe he averages 12 a game. He looks like he should be an 18 to 19-point scorer.
Cook inside, rejected by Gamble. Larkin ahead for Ryan Brown.
Run, baby, run. Showtime. Showtime. Oh, the jumper with joy in Coral Gables.
Murphy and miss. Gamble the rebound. The look on Mike Krzyzewski's face pretty much says it all. There have been no answers tonight for the Duke Blue Devils.
Playing with such confidence. Every possession, you can just feel the confidence.
Scott misses a runner. Here's Curry. And he had to get rid of it, got it back. It had been deflected. So they play on. Gamble comes out of there. Numbers again. Lob again. And over the head of Brown.
A little bit too far. They're smiling. They're dancing. They're hugging. They have just played fundamentally great basketball. They played hard, they've executed, they've defended, they played as a team. They have ball movement, player movement.
Tyler Thornton to miss. Every loose ball, it seems like there's 3 Hurricanes surrounding it. And Gamble is fouled.
Well, my friend, Mr. Schulman, it has been all Miami. Take a look at the lob up on top. Mr. Kaji with the jam. And then we're going to watch Mr. Brown. It is showtime. Up and away, the elevator man.
Hi, boys and girls. Another team that's red hot tonight. Georgia shooting about 57%. And as a result, leading Florida by 3, 24-21. Charlie Mann has been the man. He's got 7. There's 3 minutes to go in the first. Reggie Bullock coming off being named the ACC Player of the Week. 24 points against Maryland, trying to continue that against Georgia Tech. That game in about 30 minutes.
Carl, thank you. Back there, still bedlam as it has been all night long. Pre-game, so much hype and anticipation for this game here tonight. And Miami already the leader of the ACC coming into this game tonight on their way to a 5-0 mark. Everybody else would have at least 2 losses in the ACC. That's a headache-inducing if you're Mike Krzyzewski. But it's got to be pretty exciting for Jim Larrañaga.
Tell you one thing, Mike Krzyzewski's all about the moment. He's not thinking about his 940-plus wins. He's thinking about this performance, and that's why he's such a superb leader. He's all about being better today than you were yesterday. And I'm going to tell you something, tomorrow will be a teaching lab at Duke in a game of basketball and in the game of toughness.
Duke is shooting 28%, and you look at some of the individual numbers. Quinn Cook is 1 for 12. Seth Curry, a great shooter, is 0 for 10.
Wow.
Tyler Thornton is now 0 for 5. So Curry, Thornton, and Cook are a combined 1 for 27 in this game.
Well, I think when you shoot 1 for 27 with your 3 perimeter players, you got a tough chance to win.
I mean, if Alex Murphy doesn't come in and do what he's done here in the second half, the score would be even more lopsided than it is.
You know, Cook had a game earlier this year. It's like 0 for 11, and he came back and was 12 for 15.
But in that, the 0 for game, he had like 14 assists or something. Then he came back with a 27-point game the next one. Scott's been hot all night long, not this time, and Murphy down with a rebound.
Well, I'm going to ask you, buddy, who's your star of stars? You pick one guy from Miami. Who would it be? That's a tough choice.
Based on what we've seen here tonight?
Yep, tonight. It's a tough choice.
I don't know. You could pick Larkin. You could pick Scott. You could pick Haji. I don't know.
Right. I don't know. Pick one. I want you to pick one.
Pick one?
Yep, pick one.
I'm always biased toward the point guard because I think the point guard makes everybody else better. And Shane Larkin's made people better tonight.
I think you're biased because he's baseball as well, but I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. The point guard was sensational. Kaji and Scott, you can make a case. You can make a case for Jim Larrañaga, having him prepared to play the way he did tonight. He was loose as can be with us before the game, taking pictures with his wife, Liz.
You know, that's the way he was with George Mason when they made the run to the Final Four. And as their shoot-around ended this morning, his message to his team was, we were sitting here listening, and his message to a team was, as Kaji is down, but appears to be okay, he said, Duke's here to do a job. They're going to do what they're supposed to do. He said, our job is to do what we're supposed to do, is to trust what we do, trust the process, not get caught up in the hype, just be Miami basketball.
Well, you know, that's really the sign of great teams and programs, whether it be basketball or football. I was here in Miami sitting in a hotel lobby with the Alabama football team.
Look at this.
Right through the defense there,
oh, my.
And their football players were telling me, we don't care what Notre Dame's going to do. We just worry about what we're going to do at Alabama. And if we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to win. And they did.
Suleiman, no. Rebound, Scott. Last trip down, Kaji went coast to coast, about 70 feet. 6'11" guy, 3-4 dribbles, two-handed slam.
Hard to believe he averages 12 a game. This kid is too talented. Look at this. Multi-dimensional. Split. James in. Former Gator. I don't know what Billy D thinks when he sees this kid play. For 2 years, he was Pine City down there in Gainesville.
What a talent. Think they're having any fun tonight?
You better believe it. I think the fun's just beginning. You're going to see the fun later tonight.
And we can hear people down in the first row in the student section. They're talking to the players. Players they're really enjoying this. They are enjoying the moment. As you said, tomorrow's coming. And Miami's going to Duke later this season. And that'll be a whole different scenario and contest, and who knows what the standings will look like then. But you're right, 100%. Never, ever, ever have the Miami Hurricanes defeated a #1 ranked team, and they are well on their way tonight.
Yeah, you said it earlier, 0-6 against #1 teams.
And this is, look at them slapping the floor. Look at the energy and the smiles. I mean, they're taking as much pride in their defense as they are in their offense.
Well, slapping the floor, where was that started?
Right.
Now the Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Jefferson stripped.
I tell you, my friend, you got a scoop. You got an incredible scoop if Duke were to come back and win this game. Because this baby is over. You can tuck this one away. You can get the bus driver out there, warm up the bus, get to the airport, and regroup.
It was 14-13 Duke in the first half, and then Miami went on a 25-1 run. Duke went 8 minutes between field goals.
You know, Larkin and Scott play so well together, but they're going to be missing a lot of players next year.
Larkin again. And Plumlee down with a rebound. Less than 6 minutes to go. Suleiman from the wing misses the three. Plumlee runs it down.
It's a clearly blowout city here. Blowout city.
They play on. McKinney Jones and is fouled by Murphy. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney is a season-long spotlight on the games that will impact the tournament Thursday night. It's a Pac-12 battle between UCLA and Arizona. Two teams expected to compete for the Pac-12 title, but Oregon has thrown a wrench into those plans. But this is still a very, very big game. We'll have the return match, by the way, as part of our game day package. That'll be on March the 2nd from Pauley Pavilion.
Hey, Dana Altman's done a great job with that Oregon program. Had that big win, stopping a 10-game win streak for UCLA. Now they got to regroup and go up to beat Arizona on their floor. Sean Miller's kids have found a way to win a lot of close basketball games. Talk about transfers. I mean, they got the kid from over at Lyons who's done a great job for them. Xavier Wells transfer. And by the way, Xavier's done a heck of a job. Chris Mack, when you think of the fact of the players he lost, losing Lyons and losing guys like Wells. I like that 11-10. My coach of the week in my awards every Monday I post on. You can go to ESPN.com, Dick Vitale, and I post my award winners this year. This week, the coach of the week was Butler. I mean, he was tremendous.
Brad Stevens.
Oh, yep. Brad Stevens. Yep. I'm going to tell you right now, I got a funny feeling a guy, unless they slip somehow, Jimmy Larinaga, with the job he's done here tonight.
I think, Dick, this is going to be our third consecutive game as Plumlee lays it in, where we're going to see a court getting stormed. We saw it when NC State beat Duke. And then we saw it when Butler beat Gonzaga, and I got to believe we're going to see it here tonight.
I don't know what you feel, but I'm going to tweet up today that we're seeing too many rushing up the court for situations where you don't expect it. Yeah. I mean, you can understand the drama of a moment, beating a #1 for the first time. I can understand that. I can understand the drama down there with that Butler game with Gonzaga. But some of them, it's getting ridiculous. And the fear of someone getting hurt. Yeah. I mean, we were lucky as can be in the North Carolina State game when that young guy, Will Privett, was not seriously injured. You know, he was born without any legs. And C.J. Leslie literally carried him and held him up as he was knocked out of the wheelchair. So there's a little, you don't know what is. One moment you want to see the kids celebrate and enjoy it. There's that fear that someone can seriously get injured.
5:15 to go here in Coral Gables. All Miami since the midway point of the first half. Up 26. They were up 24 at the half, up 26 right now.
I thought you were going to say that we were having games where the #1s are getting beat. You had the game Duke with North Carolina State. They were #1.
Yep.
And now we have this one.
Yeah. Suleiman comes up with a steal. Pass deflected. And the Hurricanes have it again. And McKinney Jones was leaking out for a dunk. But the ball is out of bounds back to Duke. As you look at the current AP top 10, Duke on its way to losing here tonight. Does that mean if Michigan holds serve and does well this week, that the Wolverines will advance to #1? Already it's gone from Indiana to Duke to Louisville, back to Duke, and now apparently to somebody else.
Look at Louisville getting beat last night by Villanova. You can understand losing to Syracuse. I mean, now you get on Syracuse, a heck of a basketball team, and usually a Louisville team or any team that Rick Pitino coaches, the second time after a loss, especially against someone they should beat, they really usually respond. But Jay Wright's kids did a great job and were able to get that win over Louisville. But let me tell you, when it's all said in March, you better still include when you look at the best possible teams to cut the nets there, the Louisvilles, the Indianas, they're going to be knocking on the door. Too many points. We're going to be having Michigan and Indiana on February 2nd.
How's that going to
February 3rd is the Super Bowl.
Pretty good weekend.
Do you think Tom Green is going to be thinking about his brother-in-laws on February 2nd?
No.
No, he's thinking about John Beal on a mission. Oh, showtime. They're doing anything they want. Layup after layup. I have never, ever seen a Duke team in games that I've done be humiliated like this.
And then Kaji rejects Plumlee at the other end. And then Kenny Jones hits a three.
The show keeps continuing. 34 years, I have done countless number of Duke games. I can't ever remember them being beaten like this.
Suleiman with an 8-footer, 79-52. Kenny Kaji, for whatever NBA scouts are watching, knocking down threes, jamming home alley-oops, blocking shots, showing all of his talent here tonight. Jefferson with the steal of the lane.
And I'm trying to remember some of the deep blows, but I have a tough time remembering what I did yesterday. After 70, man, you can't remember what you did. I couldn't tell you where I went for breakfast. I guess I broke it in.
Yes, you can. If there's one thing you know, it's where you went for breakfast.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow, too, to broke it in.
Scott, and nobody stops the ball. How many times have we seen that?
It's been a humiliation. Yeah. I can't put it any other way.
I mean, it's one thing to not make shots, and they've not made shots, but how many times have we seen Miami get to the basket unimpeded tonight?
Unmolested layups, dunks, slam dunks. This team has lost a great deal with Ryan Kelly sitting on that sideline. We have now seen them twice in the last 10 days, and really they just look like a good team, not a great team.
Miami by 27, closing in on a win over number 1.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter. And in part by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
The way things are going in college basketball, there may not be any upsets. 24 all Florida and Georgia. Caldwell Pope at the end of the half drains a rainbow three. Georgia leading Florida by 3. That one has gone to the timeout. How about this? LaSalle beats Butler 54-53 for the love of the A-10.
Is it really an upset, Coach? Is it really an upset?
I think it's an upset.
I like the coat Roy's got on tonight.
Woo, styling.
I like it a lot. Less than 12:40 to go until tip-off between Carolina and Georgia Tech.
Well, it seems, Dick, the only predictable thing about college basketball is the unpredictability. Butler losing at LaSalle, number 1 Duke, down 27 points here tonight. This will be as lopsided a loss as Duke has had in about 15 years.
Well, I'll tell you one thing you got to really be careful for Jimmy Larinaga is the next game. Will they come down like you saw Butler today get beat by LaSalle's not a bad basketball team on the road. In fact, that Atlantic 10 is really got some strong basketball teams. But they play Florida State Sunday. The one good thing they have going for it, the game is home.
Do you think Duke will take, I mean, Mike Krzyzewski's going to worry about his team and why they didn't play well, but do you think they'll take any offense at the number of alley-oops and the slapping the floor on defense and some of the other things they've seen here in the second half, and do they have a right to take offense at those?
Well, I think they will. I think there's no question of a little chip on their shoulder next time they play it, because it's almost like a slap in the face. But you know what? They have no one to blame but themselves. They really don't. They did not play defense tonight. We just saw another unmolested layup. They didn't challenge anybody. They got to the basket, Miami, anytime they wanted. I sometimes have a problem with that when teams worry about, what this guy did. Worry about what you do. Just play basketball and win.
Plumlee the save, but throws it away, and Larkin's out ahead of the pack.
Look at this. How many times have you seen a Duke team give up layup after 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 layup?
I think you made a good point. And you really made it. We have never seen a game like this. Another block by Kaji. What a night Kaji is having. You want to talk about stock up. Kenny Kaji with the performance tonight.
Well, I was really marveling the way Mike Krzyzewski spoke about him, I knew he was pretty good. And Mike knows basketball, so when he speaks, you listen. Look at this shot. Look at this embarrassment. Look at this embarrassment. They will use this as a teaching tool. That coaching staff is too good sitting across from us. Hall of Famer, Olympic winner, guys on his left and right, destined to be outstanding head coaches. Mr. Wojciechowski, Chris Collins, they were observing all this, and it's all setting in. But they have known their team really let them down tonight with the effort.
Get ready after the first free throw. Scott has fouled out, so he'll come out now.
Are we going to put up a Russian to play hit tonight?
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's been so.
And now here come the starters, Dick. And here comes the ovation for a job well done. Look at the joy on the faces of these players.
Look at the joy right there, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad. Proud. Can there be a prouder dad in sports than Jack Harbaugh? Can there be a prouder dad in sports? I mean, there are a lot of proud dads. I mean, you should only be proud because your son's an athlete or a coach. I mean, you be proud because he's a great kid, a great person, musician, artist. But in sports, there can be no one more unbelievable cloud nine than Jack Harbaugh. And tonight in this arena, shit, Mr. Mario.
He's the proud papa here in South Florida, that's for sure. Marshall Plumlee left it short. And Shaqiri has it. Jim Larrañaga has emptied the bench. Justin Heller misses the shot. The crowd and the starters for Miami desperate for one of the walk-ons, one of the deep reserves to make a shot. Tyler Thornton misses the floater. We'll get another shot, this time from three.
Hey, Justin made that shot about 10 years old. Look at it, showtime. Justin would have told his kids 20 years from now, I was a star in the game when we beat Duke.
The largest margin of defeat for Duke in the last 15 years is 27. They're down 32 right now. Eric Swope is at the line for the Hurricanes.
I'll be honest with you, I thought we were going to see at least Duke challenge a little bit more in the second half. In fact, I told you in the break, I said, this could be a game if Duke can take that 23-point deficit and get it to the 10-minute mark, about 10 or 12 down. There's no way.
Never got close.
Never got close. Never.
Had one little burst of about 2 minutes when Alex Murphy played really well. They got it down, I think, to 19. That's about as close as they got. Suleiman finds Jefferson. Miami just played harder, played with confidence, and ran the Blue Devils right out of the gym.
Did a better job defensively, did a better job executing offensively. I mean, they haven't put points on a board like this. But this is interesting, too. The last 6 teams that Miami has played have not been able to get over 60. And here they are with 32 seconds on the clock. Duke sitting at 58.
I'll tell you, Duke doesn't give up 90 very often.
Not very often.
Steve Sorensen is at the line, trying to knock down a free throw.
If Steve makes this free throw, he will be absolutely a hero in the eyes of his family when he talks about what a valuable player he was in the contribution tonight in the win over Duke.
Final 30 seconds. Suleiman for three.
He's got to find that shot. They need him to give him some scoring. These kids deserve to play. They play so hard in practice. They're a vital part of the team, the way they bust their gut every day.
For the 4th time this year, the team ranked #1 in the nation will lose. For the 2nd time, it'll be Duke. And Duke will drop to 16-2, 3-2 in the league. Miami will go to 14-3, 5-0 in the ACC, and a 2-game lead over everybody else.
As you said earlier, they got 3 road wins, too, in the ACC. That's a hole right there. to hold.
Justin Heller called for the foul after Suleiman took the ball away. 5.4 seconds to go. Jim Larrañaga has just delivered Miami's first ever win over a #1 ranked team. And guys like Shane Larkin, Kenny Kaji, Duran Scott, all of them played brilliantly. Kenny Jones knocking down shots. The return of Reggie Johnson, Julian Gamble, Ryan Brown. Everybody who laced him up for the Hurricanes tonight played well.
I'm going to be checking the Miami Herald. They're going to get the unbelievable front of that paper over the Heat, baby. They deserve it. They deserve it. They have earned it.
And it's over.
Here they come. Here they come. God, this wacko in front of me. What's he doing? He's doing a little dance. Oh.
The celebration begins here in the Coral Gables. The Miami Hurricanes not only beat #1, they destroy #1 as they take out Duke 90-63 here tonight. Janine Edwards somehow is with Jim Larrañaga.
Coach, congratulations. You just did something that has never been done before in the history of Miami basketball. Beating a #1 team. How do you feel about your guys right now?
Well, we played a complete game. We did everything we planned on doing, and we did it to the highest level. We played very well. They didn't have a great game. The result is the score. So we got a lot of important games ahead of us, though. It sounds crazy, but this is one of many that you have to play well in.
But let's talk about tonight. What worked for you? You were clicking on all cylinders, defensively, offensively. What made that work?
Well, I think our guys were very ready. We had a week to prepare. That was huge. We got some time to rest. We got Reggie back, which I didn't know until late today. And he did a great job of giving Julian some quality rest. Shane and Duran were great, Kenny great, so just a great team effort.
You had a couple of goals when you came here to Miami. One was to beat Carolina, one was to beat Duke. You've done both of those. The other one was to beat a #1 team, and you've just done that.
Well, when my staff and I decided to come, the reason was we felt like the ACC is the best basketball league in the country. Where would you want to coach? This league is the best. Duke is great, Carolina's great, the whole league is terrific, and just getting better when we add those 4 schools. So this is fun for our students. They haven't enjoyed this kind of experience very often, and now we got to go back at it. We got Florida State, our arch rival, coming in.
All right, well, don't think about Florida State right now. Enjoy this victory. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, what a scene here in the Coral Gables. A 27-point win for Miami over Duke, the 3rd most lopsided win ever over a #1 team. And they earned every bit of it. They played brilliantly here tonight.
They really did. The big 3 were super. Kaji and Scott. Look at Barry.
Look at that smile, huh?
His son was great. They just absolutely were brilliant. I don't think Jimmy Larrañaga is going to have a tough time getting a seat tonight at Prime Italian for dinner. I don't think. He ought to go down there and celebrate. They ought to give him a free meal.
The final score here tonight, Miami 90 and Duke 63. For Dick Vitale and Janine Edwards, I'm Dan Shulman saying so long and thanks for watching as we send you to Georgia Tech and North Carolina.